Killa Kela Sweet 16 streaming across all music platforms now. Featuring 16s from Tina Kamau, Orifice Volgatron, Foreign Beggars, Marga, Bob Villain, Illerman, and Trigger. The sounds of Killa Kela Sweet 16s streaming now.
AG Dentistry. In my line of work, not only does what I do with the mouth get reviewed, it's also my instrument. And it's beyond important to me that my teeth get the professional service they deserve. The AG family provide expert dentistry, whether it's NHS or cosmetic. They're the finest in London. Head over to agdentistry.co.uk for more information on treatments and prices. AG Dentistry. Bob Villain.
We don't care.
We don't care.
Go home.
Out on Spotify, Apple Music, Tidal, and all streaming platforms.
Go home.
Killa Kela Podcast. KillaKelaOfficial.com.
Beatbox created.
Killa Kela.
And we're here to talk about world music and street culture.
Killa Kela Podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're live and direct. Kensal Rise, Central's we need to be. This is a Killa Kela Podcast. Subscribe, comment, rate at your own risk, at your own peril, okay? Do not sleep. I repeat, do not sleep on my repeat. I'd like to introduce to you my boy James, a.k.a. Funtcase Inside the Ride.
Good afternoon from Kensal Rise.
Kensal Rise. Not as east as we thought.
Nah, it ain't, nah.
Isn't that the way, isn't it? You land in a place and you're like, okay, its entirety is London, so I'm all right.
Pretty much. The whole of London looks exactly the same in every way.
My mum's exactly the same, right? She'll be like, so I'm going to London. Okay, cool, wicked, mum. Where's that? Well, we'll just go to Victoria. You know,
It's like
a bit round there.
Yeah, all right.
You're from Bournemouth, then,
Yeah, I am.
Yeah.
Born and bred.
Born and bred.
Yep.
How's it for you, the travelling? Because you do a lot of travelling,
Yeah, I do a hell of a lot of travelling. It's all right, man. It's just I don't know. You get into a rhythm. I don't know. As soon as you sit down, your brain doesn't go, what do I do now? Your brain's kind of attuned to the point of now where you just get your laptop out and just do something. You know, like beforehand when you start travelling, your brain goes, what am I going to do? Like if you're flying to say Miami, which is like roughly 7 to 8 hours. Your brain goes, what am I going to do for 8 hours? But like you obviously not doing it for this long, it's just like straight something out, you know, do something, you know.
Yeah.
You just do something and it just flies by. So yeah, just kind of got into the rhythm of that.
Yeah, I must admit. I mean, as you can see, I'm dealing in the most highest for the podcast. The quality of technology is like knows no bounds.
It's banging. If only you could see this on camera.
Yeah,
only you could see it.
Yeah, it's designated especially for the podcast. So, but by and large, it's mad, isn't it, that you can just, you know, open up, get going, carry on as you left off.
Definitely.
You know, that's the producer's way, and also it also gives you the opportunity that if you are on road touring and whatnot, you can try road test your tunes literally the following night.
Yeah, most definitely. Yeah. I mean, what a lucky job we have, you know. In the old days, if you had to get stuff pressed to vinyl, couldn't even imagine how much money you'd be shelling out, you know, 40, 50, 60 quid per dub plate, and you get those first dub plates, the metal ones that only last like 8 plays or something.
Yeah, they rip after like 4 goes.
Mate, that's the old school. I couldn't even imagine the amount of money I'd spend just churning out like, oh, here's like I've got V6 of this track. I'll put this on a dub plate. Quick, can you get on the tomorrow? I've got a show tomorrow. You need to get up. You know, just stress of doing that. You know?
Oh my god, yeah.
We have so much luck just having this stuff on USB and just being like, bang, there you go. Here's the new.
Oh yeah, totally. I remember this time I did this. We were really getting into like the Elocution album, which was my second album, and was getting all these remixes in. And Clips done a remix of Jawbreaker. Yeah. And we were like, look, let's get it on. So we had this plate. And me naively at the time, you know what I mean? Because, you know, dub plates, I was always part of that world. But, like, I just assumed that, you know, they live for fucking ever.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
And I was young and foolish, and I'd get my DJ to rinse it, reload, rewind, you know, after about, like, a week of that shit.
Yeah, it was done. Yeah, I'm from the same era, man. Like, I'm getting old now. But, yeah, it's just like, yeah, I remember that stuff, definitely.
Yeah, I can definitely see the white lines going through that mask, mate.
Just all the wrinkles, you know, it's just like, over time.
Totally. I mean, I've always, you know, I've had a couple of people on the podcast before with the mask, and I've always admired the commitment on that level.
Yeah,
because like you can always like back off and you're like, oh, actually, it's me.
Yeah,
which you do.
Yeah,
but I mean, from my point of view, like particularly with the drill rappers I've interviewed, you ain't gonna get an expression out of them whatsoever. No. So it's awesome though that you maintain that.
It's a pain in the ass, most definitely. Like when I play like this hat, for instance, when I wear this hat live, but to keep it on my head from when I'm doing the nutty stuff on stage, I I have to tighten it, yeah. And then after 1 hour, I pull this off, and my head, I got a red line, a deep red line, just going across my head, which doesn't go away for like 2 hours. And not only that, I have eczema, right? I have eczema across my forehead and over here. So lame, you know, like bad boy funk. No, I'm just I get eczema, yeah. So because I'm sweating in this mask, and this mask collects all the sweat and the heat and everything. As soon as I pull my mask off, my skin is stinging, man, like pure red. So every show is a commitment.
Damn,
so,
son.
Yeah.
Yeah. Listen, just to back it up, just so people who ain't gonna know can get to know the know. It's all about bass music, dubstep predominantly, but his background is most definitely within the UK dance arena of like more heavy bass, drum and bass.
Drum and bass, man.
Yeah.
Straight from the heart. From the heart. Still making it. Still love it. Just my first attempts at D&B was when I was, I'm going to say 18, when I first sort of tried making D&B, not just messing around doing D&B, actually trying to make it. When I was DJ Dose, and I was that for 5 years, and then Funtcase.
Dose, that rings bells.
I mean, there's another Dose. There's one from New Zealand who released with Andy C's labels and stuff like that.
Okay.
And he got quite abusive of me on MySpace back when I was Dose.
Really?
Actually, so big up Dose, by the way.
Big up
I'm
Dose.
doing all right for myself. How you doing? How you doing?
Every cloud, mate. No, big up Dose. I don't know who you are, but big up
Yeah,
Dose.
no, he's got some sick tunes, but yeah, I'm doing quite well.
I recognise them, yeah. For real, yeah. But who's winning now?
Yeah, but yeah, it's just like I was doing D&B for years, but D&B back in the old days when it was all dub plate still and vinyl was still a thing. I was releasing vinyl and stuff, but D&B was such a tight circle, man, and it was so hard to get into the scene. And just like, and then I don't know, the start of dubstep was so open-armed, you know? So I just put a few tracks out, not as me, because I didn't want people to know it was me, because back then it was kind of frowned upon, or bandwagon, even though dubstep was still kind of like underground.
Yeah.
You know, like it was really frowned upon in the D&B scene, so I just and it blew up instantly, and I was like, okay, and then everyone was like, oh yeah, here's shows, and I was like, cool, this is doing way better than D&B, why not try it? So yeah, it's just that's a nice transition, you know. But I've still got D&B in my heart right now. So yeah, I'm still making it, still love it.
You still make it, yeah?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we talked
all the
about
time.
this anyway.
Yeah.
We're getting some shit.
Yeah.
But I think, what was it, Fabio coined it? DJ Fabio coined it as like the bastard son of jungle or drum and bass.
Yeah.
And I guess as an observer, because, you know, I stepped into a couple of tempos, and I always have done, but like the moment that drum and bass blew, it almost like didn't matter what, you know. And even now in America, it doesn't. They still embrace it with open arms, because that's where your thing's popping, isn't it? You're really fucking.
Yeah, most definitely. Americans. The thing about Americans is they're still behind. UK culture grabs it and then they rinse it, and then as soon as they're done with it, they throw it away and they go on to the next genre. America, they grab something and then they go, okay, this is a genre, and they listen to all of that genre, and then obviously over time things start to turn into elitism and, you know, that sort of stuff and everything. You get groups of people liking certain stuff, but generally America, they generally like most types of music, you know. So that's why it's so long lasting in America, because they just take a genre and they go, here's a party for this genre, like for just years and years to come, and then suddenly it'll dip out and then it'll come back, just like every genre does.
Yeah,
and it comes in waves. But yeah, America, man, they held it. I mean, look, I've got to big up America hugely, because if America didn't exist, let's say America and Canada didn't exist, if the fall of dubstep in say 2012-ish, when that happened, I wouldn't be in a job. I'd be working at Tesco or something. I'd be doing something that's not dubstep. So yeah, I'd love to big ups to America. Man.
Yeah.
They kept me in business.
This is kind of this podcast in itself is quite a celebration of your career, based on like a lot of your activities over there. And you know what? Like you were saying, they've taken it with open arms, and it's the same with like Conrank.
Yeah.
Conrank's blowing. He's just steady. He's just on his circuit,
just rising nicely.
He's rising.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, he's coming at a night. Same with me. When I first started dubstep, my sound was so different. Like the only people that I could have even been, you know, accustomed to was like bar 9 or 16-bit. That aggressive driving dubstep was not a thing back then. Those are the only guys pretty much. I mean, look, try not to kill me. If anyone's watching this from the old school days, they were like, you know, I used to make that too. I'm sorry, but like the main people that I remember from my aggressive style was 16-bit and bar 9, and they're still doing their thing now. But yeah, it's the same thing with Conrank, man. He's come into the scene and he's been doing all right. But then at the moment in America, that more minimal stuff with a more of a funky old, or even more of an old sound to it, but modernized, is really doing well right now. You got people like Ganja White Knight and all that sort of stuff. Bass Nectar, they're playing the really simple but the really good bouncy stuff. And Conrank has just come in with his sound on that version, and they've gone, sweet, and they've just embraced him. And this is what I mean. This is what dubstep does, man. They embrace people. They don't shut people out in circles, you know, which D&B used to do.
Oh
know?
yeah, I mean,
So,
they
yeah.
were the knights of the table that were the gatekeepers of everything.
Most definitely,
Yeah,
most
I mean,
definitely.
I mean,
I mean, most of the big DJs who had their own radio shows, say like Fabio Groove Rider, anyone like that, they used to play the music. But those people that had their music played, there was a geezer called Sensei, right? He was from Torquay. He was friends with like the old Genetics boys, Bluefoot, Tron, and Shifter, and all that. He used to have his stuff absolutely destroyed by every DJ, but his bookings were minimal, man. His bookings were absolutely minimal, and that just literally goes to show you that it was such an elitist group of people that just wouldn't let anyone else in.
wouldn't
You
let
know?
anyone, yeah.
They would smash your music, but they wouldn't bring you in. You know, so it's kind of a bit weird.
It's interesting you say that, like, because Conrank, again, when I was chatting to him, he was often asked by a lot of people, how do you get DJ bookings?
Yeah, yeah.
It's quite a mad one, like, because, like you say, America's got quite an open, an open forum for
Yep.
a massive country with a massive circuit if hungry people want to hear it.
Yeah, yeah.
It's kind of crazy when people, he found it anyway, it was like, it must be really hard, that transition, but equally it's like, why don't people get gigs?
In America itself, being such a big country, you get your regions that like certain stuff. So you get like New York, apparently, as far as I know. I haven't experienced it myself. New York, like D&B. LA and that California region love D&B. And then Denver, for some reason, is like some sort of base capital where everyone loves everything. So it's kind of like you get your little points, you know. But America's so big and there's so many regions. They have so many loves for different types of styles, you know. So everything just sort of merges in. You know?
Yeah, man. It always intrigues me. Do you reckon the lead of the songs dictate whether you're going to get gigs?
Nah, not really. I mean, there's not a lot of musicality in what I make, if you think about it. But
do you think the turnaround in the amount of stuff you do put out and the whole DPMO thing?
Yeah. So the more music you put out, the more you're going to get noticed for sure. But all it takes is one track. That's literally from day one to now. It's the same thing. You get one big track, you're done. You're sorted easily.
Really?
So like, look at Dr. P with Sweet Shop. He went from geezer in dubstep to this is the
Mm-hmm.
main guy in dubstep. You know,
totally.
everyone was playing that stuff, and it's the same with Flux Pavilion. Made I Can't Stop. Boom. See you later.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
Clear,
everyone makes a track and it goes boom. So yeah, it's the same. It's the same these days, man. You can take one track. That's all it takes.
Yeah, I like that analogy. Was it like fucking Jay-Z? Hard Knock Life. He owns New York.
Yeah, man.
You know.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Well, I mean, 6ix9ine is claiming that.
Yeah. 6ix9ine.
Not doing it right for himself right now, is he? Really? But
No, he's having a hard time, Paul.
yeah.
It's a genre in itself, and I watch and I'm like, yeah, man, I could do a piece of that. I love. The audience have like a jazz attitude to things, where they're really interested in. It's like beatboxing, so I can totally relate to it, like the way people respond to things.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, you're going to get people hating about certain things or whatnot. I know Dick and Conrank, he fluctuates on some, Marmite-esque sort of route.
Yeah.
I've always fancied his fucking snares, man. His snares are... The way he adds a sound to his snares, it almost... And I've always thought that, throw a snare, but, and people resonate with that.
Yeah.
That their audience love that stuff. They love to hear.
Most definitely. It's not just producers who notice these little key sounds, When I'm making something, I do something for my own pride and I'm doing little details here and there. But you will get people to notice that stuff, and one small element in your track can really make something much bigger than it is, It can take one vocal or it can take one lead that's catchy, or, even a snare, like the ring in a snare. If you can get a metallic ding on a snare, that still stands out these days, It's being done quite a lot now, but if you do it well, it's noticed, So, it's just like a lot more people notice the details than I think people realise. Definitely.
Yeah. All right, let's get techie on this then. So, in terms of your production, like, what are you using?
Cubase.
Cubase.
Yep.
Cubase,
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of people still use Cubase, don't they?
Kind of. I mean, a lot of people have branched over to Ableton.
Yeah.
Because it's, I don't know, for some reason that's been some sort of industry standard now. I think Cubase is like noisier. Rob Swire used to use Cubase as well. I don't know if he still does. I think he uses Ableton now. I think Fresh, maybe. Don't quote me on that. Yeah. But these are the people that I think... so myself, Dr. P, Flux Pavilion, we still use it. I don't know if they've tried anything else. I've tried a few things just to mess around. I started on Reason, actually.
Oh, did you?
When I first made all my first biggest bangers, all my first biggest tracks that I made, like 50 Caliber, Sovex and all that stuff, that was all on Reason.
Damn, really?
And then, 2010-11 crossover was me going, I need to use Cubase.
Yeah, nice.
Because Reason was too light. You could only use what was in Reason. You couldn't use, like, let's get a free plugin from this website and just use it in Cubase. You couldn't do that. You had to be... Now it's very more open. They allow more stuff, but...
But, like, with restriction comes that creativity.
Yeah.
Can you use Splice on Cubase? Or are those kind of outsourced?
Yeah, I do that. Yeah, that's what I use.
Samples.
It doesn't. But the thing is, Splice doesn't link the project files into itself. So Splice does this thing where it detects project files or something and does something with them or saves them. I don't know. But it doesn't. It only works. It works on like Fruity Loops. I've got a version of Fruity Loops on my computer, and anytime I mess on that to use some of the things on it, like granulizer or anything, as soon as I've finished a project, Splice is like, there's a project, and it doesn't do that with Cubase. So yeah,
Oh, really?
Splice, come on, man.
What's good, Splice? Come on.
Come on, Splice.
Come on. I think Comrank uses Cubase only very recently. I think with the Ableton, and I think it's what draws people into it, is the immediacy of creating your flow as you go. You know?
Yeah, I think there's a few things that it does that Cubase probably could take a few notes from. There's things like much easier chaining options like that, and there's even Ableton is a live platform. You can use it straight in. I've seen people use it live. Cubase is. You could probably use Cubase in that way, but there's a few restrictions. Still,
I mean, I use Ableton for the videos themselves. You know, the podcast. Just chuck it. I mean, it's one of them.
Yeah.
Do you have your own? Do you create your own sounds?
Yeah. Everything I make is
Processed.
all my own sounds, all processed. I make like one simple sound, and then I'll just post-process it, mess with it, just keep messing with it. So, but I'm not a big sound designer guy. I'm not like Virtual Riot. Virtual Riot's a king. Big up.
Big up.
He's he's a super mega sound designer. There's loads of people that are like that. I'm really not like that. I don't really do good sound design. I just make a really good sort of basic my soundish noise, and then just mess with it and make it into something a bit different to what it sounded like. And it just, you can tell what's me, but it's not the same noise, you know. So
Yeah, you can. Do you? It feels like there's a lot of energy to your shit. So I'm like, in a real kind of punk forward kind of way.
Yeah.
You're not too worried about too much other than the energy of the track.
Yeah, no, I don't overanalyze. I used to overanalyze things like mixdowns, right? And then there was a moment when dubstep was kind of a bit more, it's more dead in a way, where I started thinking maybe I should do some more commercial stuff. Maybe that'll keep me afloat. You know, the worry of losing my job obviously made me think in different ways. But now we're coming back into the realm of dubstep is coming back in every country. Watch out.
Just for real.
I don't have to worry about any of that stuff now. Like I can just make what I make. I've always only ever made what I want to make. But yeah, you do go through a process of overanalyzing and stuff. But yeah, I mean, I've only ever just made what I enjoy making. I don't ever think like, oh, maybe I should get like a Prodigy acid bass line here and then just make a catchy lead here and stuff. You know, I just go like, that sounds sick. Cool. There's a track. There you go, guys. Like, you know.
Yeah. Do you think like you go through? Because I certainly do. You learn a bunch of shit, DJ, and then you come back to the original shit you were doing. And all of a sudden, the thing that you was originally doing just seems a little bit more, I don't know, mentally you're free and you're like, well, it's whatever.
Yeah.
Because even having the mask, that creates a mental brand in your head, surely.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, right, well, this is how it's meant to sound.
Yeah.
Okay, I've just got to do that.
Gives you something to run with in a way, you know.
Yeah.
But I mean, every track is kind of like that. You know, you'll get a track where you'll struggle on, and something you'll do something on it, and you'll be like, and then it just writes itself. You know what I mean? It's the same thing. I've got the mask. Like, it kind of writes itself. You know, I've got this mask. How do I brand myself? Maybe I can look insane because I'm energetic on stage. You know, things like that. So like, you know, everything writes itself if you're clever enough.
Yeah, this is sick. All right, so let's go back. Right, so when you was like a kid, what were you listening to? Straight drum and bass?
Up to say like 12, I had no idea what I liked. I literally listened to anything. I was throwing Meatloaf in my face. The first thing I ever bought, this is from some pure info. The first thing I ever bought,
Go on.
saved up money wise for, was the cassette album Big Willie Style by Will Smith.
Go on, son.
That's a reputable first album, right? Surely.
Hey, dude, what was mine? My album was Guns N' Roses' Appetite for Destruction. But my single was fucking Do the Bartman. Dude.
Oh, really?
Like, yeah, it was like straight like rap.
My first single was Gravel Pit by Wu-Tang.
Damn, see, you came in hard.
Not too bad. I did actually steal that single from W.H. Smith.
Dude.
I didn't buy it. That was my first single that I actually went out and went to go get. But
You know
album-wise, I was always buying albums, so I bought Big Willie Style was the first.
Well, W.H. Smith was the wackest, right? I remember around the same age as getting all this stuff, I got Shabba Ranks,
Oh, right.
Extra Naked album.
Yeah.
Right, but I wanted Mr. Loverman,
Yeah.
just a single.
Yeah.
And they give me the whole album for $1.99. They put the wrong tape in the wrong box.
Oh, right, sick.
Do you know what I mean?
Nice.
W.H. Smith's a whack.
I wish.
Yeah, I know, totally. It's such a hookup.
Yeah, but then
W.H. Wish.
but then anything after that, it was just kind of like I was just listening to kind of whatever for a while,
Yeah.
and then like I got into a massive death metal phase where I was like 13, 14 years old.
Yeah.
I was watching Ace Ventura, you know, the first one.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
when he's going through the club and there's guys moshing and stuff.
Yeah,
The band that was playing was Cannibal Corpse, yeah. And I'd never heard that music before, and that I went, who is that?
Yeah.
For some reason, I just straight in was like, cool. and I just went obsessed, and I bought all their EPs, all their merch, everything.
Yeah,
Literally,
yeah.
I went nuts and bought everything, and then I started expanding and finding out different death metal bands. Until about 18, I was like super into metal, death metal, Slipknot, everything like that. And I had like long grown out hair, like, baggy skater clothes, everything, literally. And then like my mum was a DJ, right? So this is how it came about. My mum's a drum and bass DJ, and she's an old school DJ from the old Happy Hardcore days.
Yeah.
She was quite well known as well. Like she was called DJ Vortex, right? And she used to play at like Tasmania and all these events and stuff like that, like Happy Hardcore days.
Born and bred, son. Born and bred.
Big up Carolyn, mother. Nice
Oi.
one. Yeah, and then she was like always DJing, and we had a room, kind of similar to this size, like just full of decks, and she would just constantly DJing, right? And I'd walk past the room and just listen to D&B. I just wouldn't attach to it at all. I'd be like, I never like it. My mum used to try and get me to like it. And then like she was playing jungle, everything. And then one day I heard Bandwagon Blues by Twisted Individual playing, or my mum was playing.
Big up
vinyl.
Twisted.
Yeah, and I was
Formation
like,
Crew.
hello, what is this?
Yeah.
And that was the tune that turned me to drum bass, and then still here. So yeah.
Damn, so it's Twisted that did it.
Twisted did it.
Man, I told that guy, he's a beast.
He still is. He's still him. I like that he's still him. He hasn't changed. You know?
He hasn't changed, yeah.
Yeah.
I love his stuff.
Yeah, man.
We used to do a tune ages ago. He's so dope. He's so dope. I kind of figured you was into your death metal.
Yeah. I mean, you could.
Early Cannibal Corpse is sick.
Yeah. It's pretty
Stupid.
nuts. It's pretty nuts stuff. I can't believe I went from Will Smith to Cannibal Corpse, but that's how your brain works when you're that age. You don't know what you want. But
That's right.
right. A lot of people say that there's a lot of dubstep artists actually that are still like they're still big metalheads like myself. It just, and for some reason dubstep and death metal and metal they just go hand in hand.
really do.
You know? So
They
yeah,
really do.
it's the energy.
It was a great, Sonny and the whole Skrillex phenomenon, like that opened like so much. I mean, I've talked about this once or twice on other podcasts, but it was such a defining moment, not just for dubstep, but for music in general, the whole shift in technology, and then, like you say, putting the rock, the rock sensibility into something, and the logo on the cover looked right and everything. It was like the zeitgeist.
There was so many elements of Skrillex's coming of age in dubstep that dubstep needed. Yeah. Like dubstep was a good production level. Skrillex took it to professional, professional EQing, mix down levels. He took it to absolute levels. And then the fact that I guess like emo or screamo, that musicality into heaviness. No one had really done that. I mean, to my absolute knowledge, if I just think about to any dubstep, I can't think of a track that literally went from, in the way Skrillex did, where he went from pure musicality into some sort of pre-drop scream into a really heavy track. That really correlated to like the screamo side of stuff. And no one in dubstep had done it, and it was so different. And he had the look that no one had done in dubstep. There was so many elements that he brought to the table that's why he blew. And it's just, and thank God for Sonny, man, because he turned dubstep into a beast.
For real, it made everybody shut their laptops for a little bit.
Yeah, it made everyone made everyone watch YouTube tutorials.
Yeah.
How to do better mix downs, totally.
Yeah,
it changed the game, man, and he deserves every bit of credit he gets, man, because he turned dubstep into what it is today.
Yeah, but then fastly approaching came the circus crew. You Flux, like there was this real like forthright energy to push the UK stuff on the notoriety of like what Sonny had like pretty much like he hollered. Yeah, you guys every cornerstone. It was like big up the UK dubstep. Big up the UK dubstep. There was a real forward march on from the UK side as well, wasn't there?
Yeah, Skrillex was never Sonny does not get enough credit for the amount of pushing he's done towards not only all music, but the roots of the UK side of dubstep. That guy knows music, man. Trust me. Yeah. That guy knows music. It is not just a case of like he made this style of music because it sounds like metal, screamo, whatever. That guy knows music in and out in every genre. I promise you, that guy could make anything. It's insane. And like he was never the guy that would go, oh, I brought my music and I'm the guy who did dubstep. He's always given odes to people everywhere, and he's DM'd me saying he's a fan of mine, like just out of nowhere, like been like, I'm a fan of yours, can you send me music, stuff like that. Even when like before grime blew up, for instance, like grime being the big thing now, before grime was massive, I sent Skrillex and my entire catalogue of all the music, and there was one track in there I did which I made in 25 minutes right, as a Lord of the Mics battle joke thing, because they were doing a Lord of the Mics battle and I made a tune for a laugh, and it's called Pussy Holes, right? And I gave him my entire folder, and for some reason he picked that one out, right? And this is before grime was massive. massive. He picked that exact tune out, which was grime. It was the only grime tune I had in there, and went, "This is sick. We need to collab on this." It didn't happen, but he was like, he coined that, and it's like he knows, you know. It's like he knows an element and goes, "That's a thing." You know?
He has vision.
It's just genius, man. It's just continuous. You know, he's just doing that all over.
He's a 100%er. He's one of those characters that, you know, he can write something, produce it, mix it to completion.
Yep.
You know, there's some people that kind of wave on the songwriting, or some people that wave on the mix, or they've got to get someone else to just. He's just an all-round.
Yeah, you can tell with the Jack Hughes stuff, anything he's made, like all the stuff he's making these days, you can hear a lot. If you go onto his Instagrams, you watch his stories, he's showing you the track he's making, this pop track for whoever. He's like, here's an idea. He's bouncing in a hotel room making music. I can't make music in a hotel room. I just can't, man. I can't vibe to it. And this geezer just writes it like it's nothing. I don't know how he does it.
Yeah, I guess it's the influences of his surroundings. I guess that kind of ADHD of like, I've got to keep going.
Yeah, but that's probably what, I mean, he had 2 years off. So that's probably why he had 2 years off. He was probably writing music in between. But like, you know, he toured, 340 days out of the 350 days of the year, or however much it is. So like, yeah, just like, I don't know, man. The guy's a beast, and he's, you know, he deserves all his credit. But
you're like that as well. Like you do things to completion. When you're in that zone, do you? I mean, you've got to work on energy. That's the whole thing. If you're doing things to completion, it's almost like, actually, this is what I was coming to. When people are able to do things to the completion, at its soul, the depth in which the originality and the sound of what you are, that each process adds that extra ingredient.
Yeah,
it's crazy to think that, like for someone like yourself, like to get it to that 100%, there's different personality traits throughout the whole process.
Yeah, to an extent, yeah.
Yeah, well, give me a bit more background as to those processes as a producer.
So in what sense? Like,
in the sense that, like, when you get to these stages, what kind of headspace do you need to be in? Like, where?
So, like for songwriting.
Yeah,
for
exactly.
Yourself. I don't know. To be honest, I don't try and get in mindsets. I just I'm in vibes. You know, my brain wants to make something one day, my brain wants to make something another day. Some days I'll be doing the deadline to a track I'm supposed to be doing as a remix for, and then for some reason I'll make a cool noise on a keyboard, and I'll be like, that doesn't fit in this track, but let me just try something, and then I'll open up a new project, and for some reason I'll spend the next 6 hours making an entire new track, you know. And it's like, it's just, I think for me personally, things just happen based on how I'm feeling or how the vibe is, or so like if I go into a studio, I'll go to the studio anyway, even if I'm not feeling the studio, I've got to do something. So I'll go in and I'll make loads of cool drums and save them, or most cool basses or whatever, or just anything. I've just got to make sure I'm doing something, you know. Like even when you're not feeling it, you've still got to be doing something that keeps your heart happy. You know what I mean? And that's the same thing. Like if I go into a studio, it goes into a vibe. So I'll go into the studio with the mind like, oh, I've got to do this deadline before the end of the day. For some reason, like 3 hours later, I'm making a jazz freestyle album. You know what I mean? Like it's just however the mind works. You know? Yeah. So yeah.
Do you get yourself into a bit of a pickle when it comes to deadlines in that respect?
Not the thing about deadlines for me. It's like I never work to a deadline. I'm always working, and then the deadline happens. You know, like I know when the deadline is, but I'm in my head. I'm not like, right, I have to finish it before then, because the track for me is never done if I'm doing it to a deadline. You know, because that's a forced deadline. That's not how the track should sound. For instance, the Plan, I did a remix for Plan B years ago when he did his Ill Manners movie, and I did the remix for that. But I had 2 weeks to work on it, and I was so unhappy with the final version. People love it, right? And that's completely fine. But when I hear that track, there's so many elements that I've gone, right, I would have changed that. I had to have changed the mix. I would have put an FX noise here. I would have done this. And it's just, that shows, like, you know, for me, maybe I'm overanalyzing. Maybe. If people still love that track, then yeah. But, you know, it's still got to be a pride thing. I've still got to, it's my legacy, you know what I mean? I can't look back and go, I wish that was better. I wanted to listen to everything I've done and go, okay, well, you know, the Mixdown is of its time, 2009, 2010. But that track was great. You know, I want to be able to do that. I want to be able to go, that was great, that was great, that was great. And without analysing everything, you know, that's how I want all my tracks to end. And that's how I try and finish all my tracks with a finished mindset on that track. So I can just set it aside and go, there you go, guys, there's the tracks finished. And not go, oh crap, maybe that frequency in the hi-hat wasn't maybe that was too harsh, you know, just stupid stuff like that, you know.
It's funny how you could, it's almost like be at peace, detach your mind from the theatre of conflict of the tune. Yeah. And you know what, in my experience with that, it's that feeling of kind of always being restricted on either technology or my own mouth.
Yeah.
And then like 6 months
Yeah.
later, I'm just like, fuck, I can do that thing better now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I hate that one.
Yeah, I know. I get the same thing, but like I say, if you're satisfied at the point, your mind will laugh about it, but not get stressed about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what I try and make sure I finish. Like I want to be able to go, wait, I could have done that. It's fun. I don't want to go, I should have done that. You know, that's like a deep, meaningful thing. You know, like I don't want.
And it just plays on you for fucking.
Yeah, man, honestly, yeah. I mean, that Plan B remix, man. It's just like, oh man.
But on technologies, on the side of technology, like what that allows us to do is be like, right, fuck it, next one. I can't even look at that. Okay, with something like the Plan B, you know, with a massive soundtrack on all the remixes, of course, that's going to like weigh heavy. You're going to be like, it's getting on this big pub, and I want fucking the public to see it like as a.
Yeah.
But in this turn around, throw away, cookie cutter world we're in, it's like next.
Yeah,
next.
throwaway for sure, man. It's worse than ever. Like attention span's so short these days, you know.
Yeah.
I was in Holland last year. And I played a set with Goldie. I was on the same lineup as Goldie in this really ghetto after party room, and like. I was playing another dubstep guy. He finished his set, and I was like, "Yeah, sick." But Goldie leaves tracks running for like 2.5 minutes before he runs them out. Mate, I could not do that in dubstep. People, the dance floor would stop. They'd be looking at me, waiting for the next track. You know, Goldie was just running it out. The vibes he was just going on with, and the crowd were eating it up, man. And it's just like that shows the mentality of what we used to be and what we are now. You know what I mean? Like I can turn out a track, and I have to do a track. I have to mix out after 16 bars. Like otherwise, the crowd's going to start dying down. You know what I mean? Like, the vibe has to keep going, and you have to do 3-track mixes and do all this stuff, you know. And it's just like it's the attention span is so short these days, you know. And it's the new kids, but you know, like I say, when you get someone like Goldie and the people who know him and respect him, and they'll become from his backgrounds, they will know what he's about, and they're from the old school, and they will just vibe, you know. They don't expect I want to drop. They have a vibe, you know what I mean? There's such a difference between. You know.
Yeah, of course. I love a Goldie set for that. How many songs do you reckon you plough through? What's it, 90-minute set?
60 minutes. I'm going to say probably over 40.
How many of them are your own?
About 7.
Yeah. Nice, it's hard.
Not including ideas, man.
Yeah,
like,
yeah, of course.
Yeah, I mean, like, you know, there's tracks I probably should play, you know, but there's tracks that I don't play for just because I don't want to. It's weird. I should play my own music more because a crowd is there to hear my music, right? And I play IDs and all my new stuff. Yeah. But when it comes to tracks I probably should play, I'm bad for because I'm tired of that track, and I probably shouldn't have the mindset of I don't want to play that because I'm tired of it because the crowd want to hear it. But again, you know, I'm the guy on stage and I'm the guy who wants to feel the love of what I'm doing, you know, and I'm going to give you what my heart wants, not what I think you deserve to hear. You know what I mean? So I kind of feel like you're getting a true, you know, raw me rather than a watered down like this, you know, because there's a lot of DJs that will go to America and they'll change their set to be more American, so the crowd like them. You know what I mean? I've never in my entire life have I ever done that. I've only ever done it in the sense of like if I go to China, like recently I've been going to China and the crowds have been they've been really good, but they don't know a lot about the dub plates that we're playing. You know, there's a lot of people in America that would know that dub plate from SoundCloud or hearing on a video or something, but a lot of the Chinese culture don't have that, and they're still catching up. So every now and again, if you throw something in that they know, like say, I've been playing the Badman Ragga Twins Skrillex remix, just throw that in. And like that's the only other time I've ever you know, not compromised, but you know, just added to my set in a way where, you know, they should be able to understand my set, you know, in a way. Yeah. But yeah, I don't know, man. It's just like
we're talking about cultural. I mean, I've been in China, and you really do have to. Yeah. You've got to work to there because they have Weibo and all these different things. Like, not YouTube. They don't. They have all their different things.
Yeah, most definitely.
So you've got to really kind of, you know, I feel that.
The same. Yeah.
That's a cultural thing, though.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely.
And I really respect Conrad for staying and holding that thing down, because that's a hard job, man.
Yeah, man.
He's taught them pretty much, you know, to a degree.
Yeah. So I mean, if you think of it in that way, it's kind of like what Roscoe did to America. When Roscoe left and went to America, the whole dubstep scene freaked out and was like, "What's he doing? What's he doing going to America? Why is he going over there?" And it's almost like he flew the flag for England in that country, and it's kind of like what Conrac's doing, I guess, in China. Obviously, we've got the big artists who are doing their thing in China as well. You know, Downlink is doing something really well in China, and we're trying to push in the circus guys. But, you know, there's always got to be someone at home base that can keep churning out. Like, if he's playing, you know, residencies in Shanghai, and he's just playing these tracks, and there's more and more tracks going on, people are going to start learning, you know, the music that's coming from dubstep, you know, through that basis, because there's a guy constantly pushing out, not a guy who comes every 4 months and goes, oh, you know, here's a week tour, come and listen to our music, and then our music's forgotten what he did, you know what I mean? Because the Chinese don't do the whole cameras holding up thing. Yeah. They'll do it for an intro at the most, but most of the time they're all just vibing and headbanging.
See, man, I love the dubstep scene, the bass music scene for exactly the way you're talking, exactly the vibe. It's like you guys have got a real kind of, from the outside looking in, particularly, you've got a real unification going on.
Yeah.
Like, big up Roscoe as well for holding that. You
Love you,
know,
Chris.
But yeah, like it's so cool to, you know, and I don't know many genres that actually do that.
Yeah.
Like it's a passion for the art.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Definitely.
So your Goldie experience there, like you obviously grew up on him. Are you into like culture, like street culture and all that? Because you graph.
Yeah. Oh, mate, I used to graph. Yeah.
Right, yeah.
I used to do graph. I was doing pretty illegal graffiti up until I was about 20. I guess just as Funtcase kicked off, I pretty much kicked it straight to the curb because I didn't want to mess anything up. But I was doing graffiti up until then. So.
Yeah, I've had a bunch of writers come through. I've got a bunch more. Yeah,
A
lot of balaclavas are coming off. But yeah, I mean that's. I think when you adopt the street culture ethic, it's like you have like such a pride for the crafts and the things that you're doing. I don't know. It's not a spectator sport anymore.
Yeah.
You're kind of raised in actually doing it.
Yeah,
you know
it's weird because graffiti almost in the same way just accounts to how you do music. You know, you're laying down your legacy, and you want people to hear music as much as you want people to see your graffiti.
Yeah.
You know, even if it's a bomb and someone goes, "Oh, what the fuck?" They've seen it. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter that they hate it; they've seen it.
Yeah.
That's the point of graffiti. You know, like graffiti writers will chin stroke and they'll look at your style and they'll go, "Okay, that's cool, that's crap, that's cool," and that's in the scene. You know, that's the same with music. You know, we're producers. We go, "That snare's not good enough," or "That hi-hat's not good enough." But people will look in and go, "Oh, I really like that," or they don't like it. You know what I mean? It's exactly the same.
It's
Music
completely subjective, isn't it?
Yeah, completely.
And it's like throwing tags up.
Yep.
Being from Bournemouth, right? You grew up in Bournemouth.
Yeah. Born and bred. Never
So
left.
you must be more. Are you as familiar with the Brighton graph scene as you are with the
Nah,
London?
there was a huge Bournemouth graph scene for years. We had one of the biggest crews in the UK called 54. And there was like some massive artists in there called Pyro and Zadok, and there's a guy called Arx who goes around London who's a lot. There's a guy called Peas, he was in there as well. All these guys, they were in 54 and they were one of the biggest crews and they were going to Iran during the war doing like paintings on walls and stuff.
Oh, that's
like that.
cool.
Yeah.
I need to check these guys out.
They're from Bournemouth, from Bournemouth Southampton area. And like they were just like, it was one of the biggest crews and we saw everything they were doing. There was an area we called it Hall of Fame, but it was literally a car park, right, that no one really used. But it was closed a lot of the time. So we used to go in there and the police would allow us to paint in there because it wasn't in public view, it was always closed. We'd go in there, we'd have to climb over a wall and do it, but the police would just allow us to do graff in there because it was stopping all the graffiti going on in the street. We were doing the bombing, obviously the bombing happened because obviously that's graffiti, but the main we used to just churn out art in that thing constantly over and over again, but that went. Right. And then 54 left the Bournemouth scene. And then the graph scene just died from then on. It's on its arse right now. There's like no one.
The peaks and troughs, isn't it?
Yeah, mate. Yeah.
I remember back in the day, I'm talking back and down, there was a club night that used to run called the Go Off, I think, and that was in Bournemouth. Or it was either Bournemouth or Portsmouth. I thought it was Portsmouth.
Maybe Portsmouth. I don't think I've heard of it.
Yeah, I think it's probably Portsmouth. I always remember the coastal scenes, like, always popping. Always popping.
Yeah, it's students, man.
Yeah.
Students going to the coastal scenes, man. It's like a nice place to study, you know what I mean? So it's like, in Bournemouth, our scene right now, the music scene is popping. Everything is going, apart from maybe dubstep at the most, because the UK is not really custom back to dubstep. It's on its way. It's definitely on its way. Don't you worry. But like,
it's coming, baby.
But like, in terms of like anything like grime, drum and bass, anything like that is like the scene is absolutely massive. Like, and because it's uni students, man, that's what they love at the moment.
They love it.
And Bournemouth Uni right now is just like it's one of the top unis in England as far as I know. So
is there apart from the mask, obviously, is there anonymity to you by living in Bournemouth? Do people recognise you?
Yeah, all the time. Yeah, I mean, I don't. This is literally an on stage thing or on camera thing, I guess. But like, I get noticed all the time, and it's kind of strange. But like, I don't hide myself. Don't hide myself. Obviously, much less now because most of the people that used to love dubstep have kind of grown up, but they'll still recognise you. You know what I mean? They've gone off and they're doing house now, or they're chilled out and they're going to listen to Liquid D&B or whatever. But there's
something about the mask. I mean, there's definitely a cultural shift in masks and stuff like that. You know, the whole kind of bandana wearing thing. And when you're on stage, I get that you can take it off and on. It doesn't make any diff now. Like to see Corey Taylor, right, from Slipknot, to see him do the Stone Sour stuff without the mask, or be like on Instagram, but then Slipknot, he's wearing the mask. It's kind of a given. It's like, that's the spectacle of the show.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but I mean, the whole mask thing kind of is evolved from being a mysterious character to doesn't really matter as much, anymore, Unless you're really trying to hide something, maybe if you're a drill geezer and you're shot in or whatever, that makes sense. But if you're wearing a mask, a lot of it's image and it's branding, you know what I mean? Like, 100%. For me, it was an accident, but it's an absolute godsend in terms of branding because I know what I've got to work on, you know what I mean?
What was the accident?
So the first ever Funtcase show I played was in room 2 in this small club in Bournemouth. Room 1 was these 2 geezers called Toast. They were playing like breakbeat and house and dubstep. And like this is when dubstep was just coming off. I'd had a release and I think I was doing okay. And these guys gave me an opportunity to play room 2. I had 6 people in that room, 5 of them my own mates. And I was just about to play my set. And a geezer that I used to spray paint with, there was the night before the show. This is all relevant, by the way. The night before the show, there was a thing called the Uni Ball, which is out in some big. It's like some festival for uni students. Flat. I've been hired to do graffiti, right? But it was dress up. So I bought this whole suit, right? This entire suit and a mask, and wore that while doing the spraying, right? And then, but I'd taken everything out apart from my mask from my bag. And as I was just getting my CDs out, he noticed the mask at the bottom of my bag. He went, "Wear that for fun." And I was like, "Nah, don't be stupid." And he managed to convince me. And well, thanks, Blake. I'm still here today with this thing.
That's amazing. See, these
Cheers, Blake.
things. But I love the way that things happen like that.
Yeah.
It's almost like it's written.
Yeah, it's like a destiny thing.
Yeah, like you're the conduit to your creativeness, and this thing just happened as you was going.
Why
along.
was the mask at the bottom of my bag? I'm pretty sure I removed all of it, but it's like it was meant to happen. You know what I mean? Like,
that's so sick.
thanks, Blake.
Yeah.
My ex-ma loves you.
yeah. That must really like play.
Yeah. It's fine. I'm doing okay.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, exactly. Nothing a bit of a
Could be worse. I'll
the
take
doctors
it.
can't fix. Yeah, exactly. What's the busiest place you've ever played?
The busiest?
Yeah. What's the craziest crowd?
I mean, crowds. There's a few crazy crowds. LA has a lot of crazy crowds. Denver has a crazy crowd in their own way. I've played EDC Vegas, where it's like a sea of people. It's just from as far as you can see, it's just faces. It's not even like they're people anymore. It's like floating eggs. You know? You can't even see faces. It's just but I don't know. Crazy wise, there's been so many shows where I've played to like 200 people, and they've been absolutely mental. And it's just like everyone's got its own little thing.
Yeah, it's right. It's a different challenge each time, isn't
that's
it?
For myself. A question I get asked a lot is, do you prefer clubs or festival? I don't know if that's one of your questions or not, but
No, I'm freestyling, mate.
off the dome.
Oh yeah, as a fan, as much as as a mate and as somebody that's seen you, vicariously travel. It's so interesting. Go on.
Yeah, man. Anyway, yeah. So it's just like so they always ask, do you prefer festivals or clubs? And I bet you 99% of those people will think I'm going to say, "Oh, festivals, man. There's so many people." I prefer clubs because you know what? It's less intimate. For me, I like personal interaction with the crowd. I like going nuts on stage. I like seeing a crowd go nuts on stage, and I like reacting to what they're reacting to, and they react to me, and it's like we bounce off each other. But when I'm playing a festival, I'm like 20, 30 foot up in the air on this podium, distance from the crowd, and I see people at the front, but you can't really tell if they're looking at you or if they're just doing some stuff on the rail or whatever. And it's just like there's a disconnection. Yeah, there's a sea of people, and the whole thing's loud and it's abrasive, because there's so much going on. And you see like on EDC, you see like a wheel at the end covered in LEDs. People going on. And there's like roller coasters over there or whatever. And you're like, this is a thing, but it's not me. It's not. There's not an experience going
You're
on.
the soundtrack to their thing.
The crowd will probably get an experience, but when it comes to me, I'm not engaging this whole vibe.
Yeah.
It's a more open thing because there's so much more going on. So I prefer clubs.
Yeah, I get you.
It's dark, dingy. People are close to you. It's sweaty. Yeah. Like people hear what you're going on. Some people fist bump you and stuff. And it's just like there's just an element.
Yeah. Do you roll with somebody with the whole camera thing? Because your visual presence, obviously being like you as the brand, like it's really like you're moving. The cameras are there. It's very well orchestrated. Like, do you have like I kind of know the answer to this, but some people may not. Like, do you roll with somebody that
On occasion, yeah, but it's never the same person. We don't have a guy going, okay, well, he's going to move his arm in this way, so make sure you follow that.
So it's just you just staying on it and getting the footage off from once.
Yeah, literally. I don't like. There's no guy. We don't brief him anything like that. We literally just go. The one thing I really hate is having a DJ that barely moves but has a cameraman that does this because it's faking how energetic they are. There's so many DJs that do it, and I'm not going to name names, but just stop, please.
Yeah.
But like when I'm going nuts on stage, I tell the cameraman, look, just keep the energy. But don't do this, man, because it's going to look. Someone's going to throw up watching this. You know what I mean? Let me just show them what I'm doing, get the crowd in, do some cool zoom, make it look cool, but just don't over.
Yeah, it's bait, isn't it?
Over process what's going on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just not. It's pointless.
Yeah, I'm not into that.
But like I say, there's no assigned photographer. Sometimes we have the same ones. Sometimes. But most of the time, it is like a guy that we liked. He did a shoot somewhere, something, So yeah, there's no standardized like.
Do you ever have an MC or anything as part of the Funtcase experience? Do you ever have MCs getting it?
For America, no. For anywhere else, if I can bring him. Like I got my personal MCs for Skydro. We use him for Rampage. That's my boy. He used to do a lot of Metalheads stuff.
Yeah,
he used to play a lot of Metalhead shows and stuff. He's a really sick D&B MC, but he's also a sick grime MC, and he's really good at hosting.
Yeah.
And he's one of those MCs that actually knows that the DJ is the focus. You
That's
know,
right.
D&B is a mixture of the DJ playing the tunes, and equally as much like you got X-Man and Evil B, they're the front men, you know what I mean?
That's right, yeah.
So people focus on them, so they can stand in front of the DJ and be the focus.
That's right, yeah.
And the DJ's playing the music. It's really, really not the case anywhere else, you know. But Skydro is a host. I don't want a guy spitting over my tracks because it's constantly, it's taking from the music in a way.
Because it's all about the music and the experience of these people.
I'm a D&B guy, right? So I love vocals on music as much as anyone, right? But when it comes to people live who aren't accustomed to the D&B style, they don't want to hear a guy going over the music, you know what I mean? They want a geezer stood to the side who's keeping the energy up with the crowd, and then I'm the focus. I'm not trying to be the focus, but I'm saying like he understands that he doesn't need to be the focus. He needs to host it and keep the crowd going while I'm doing my thing, you know? So he's like, Lewis, man.
Big up, Lewis.
Best.
Big up. But that's the culture, isn't it? Like, we can't all be drum and bass centric just because you grew up with it.
Yeah, exactly.
It falls in line with a lot of other subcultures within the street world. Like, to just assume that everyone, because it has drum and bass characteristics, that you're just going to throw an MC on it and it's going to work. I feel that.
Yeah, exactly. It's weird because you think about it, dubstep in a way is more of a hosting thing.
Yeah.
And you look at grime, it's more of an MC thing. D&B is kind of the middleman to that, you know. The producer and the MC are the focus.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like everyone's got its own little place in a cool way, even though they kind of relate to each other.
Yeah, that's right.
It's kind of weird to think that.
I mean, I've said it a ton of times the last few weeks. Like, the British music scene right now is popping.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Yeah, for sure. It always is. There's always a really strong focus on one thing. You know, house is killing it at one point, and then suddenly something else is doing it. Grime's doing really well now. Suddenly drill and like. You know, a lot more different, more African styles of music coming into, you know,
absolutely.
And it's really cool. It's opening up a bit more, you know, because usually there's one focus. When dubstep was here, it was just dubstep, you know, and when D&B was there, it was just D&B. But for some reason, when grime came in, it started opening up venues into different types of black music, I guess you could say.
Right, absolutely, yeah.
And the whole thing's opened up, and I think the UK needs that, you know, because everything's been, we're going to take this genre and this is our thing until another country, you know, globalizes it, and now, we wash our hands with it. Yeah. I feel like it's a bit different now, you know.
That's right. Yeah, and I think technology also plays a huge part in that. You know, I said again, it's something I said fairly recently. It's like, you know, when you've got portals like Spotify and you've got iTunes and Deezer and you've got different podcasts and different things exercising like these outlets and ways of people to discover music. There's enough people in the world. Yeah, you know, definitely. You'll find your audience. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
You know,
that's the thing. Everyone thinks that they can't get a break, but if you've got an edge that isn't exactly the same as everyone else, you will find a crowd that will like what you're doing. You know what I mean? You could argue that there's enough pop in the world, but Marshmello has come in and not reinvented it in a way, but he's almost just come in and just done his thing, and he's got his crowd for it. You know what I mean? It's not
madness. Yeah, totally.
Yeah, and it's not even like people who just love pop music. It's people. A lot of people can appreciate his music, but it just goes to show that, you know, it's. Where do you draw the line with any of that stuff? You know, right. Like you just enjoy music. I think at the end
and cross-pollinating all the time, collaborating with people, all that sort of stuff. It's all for the taking.
But you got to have your own edge if you really want to make it in a scene in a much faster way. Because everyone obviously wants to be fast tracked to the top. You got to have your own edge. If you want to be noticed, you got to have something that people go, that geezer's doing that thing. Like he does this thing where he does that, and you know, it's
elaborate.
Like, got to talk. People got to talk about you as well as much, you know. It's that. I mean, I couldn't tell you what you need to be doing. You just need to be different. You need to have a different edge.
It's a science, yes.
Skrillex.
Yeah.
Skrillex, just there you go. In 2011, Skrillex turned up. I mean, obviously he was around before, but he turned up with his style, and there you go. He had a different edge, and he blew up.
Yeah. So, edge comes through educating, learning your shit, being honest and true about your craft, and knowing the boundaries, who did what when, how that works for them, and just really enveloping yourself into a scene, isn't it?
Yeah, most definitely.
You know what I mean? Most definitely. Can you beatbox?
No. I tried MCing when I was younger. Before I started DJing.
Try and beatbox.
Nah, there ain't no way. There ain't no way. No way, no how. No.
What are we looking forward to in the year? Because this is the New Year episode, you know?
Yeah.
Happy New Year, by the way. Big up that. Happy New Year, crew. That's why we've still got all the tinsel tossed around. Look.
Yeah. This is sick, by the way.
Yeah, man. Yeah, straight up. Hey, if you're gonna have a sock,
Yeah, exactly.
sock it to them.
Yeah.
What's the plans for the year?
Oh man, so Rampage next year, one of the biggest things in Europe.
Yeah, boy.
15,000 person arena in
Get
Belgium.
in.
Playing the headline slot Saturday. Got my own stage show. It's the first time I've ever had my own stage show, so we're going to do it big. I'm going to have, and then from that's kind of opening the door to hopefully building my own stage and then having my own stage tour. Hopefully around America because they take it the best.
Stop it! That's gonna be cold.
I know, yeah. So yeah, but I want to try and it's so easy to think that it could be such a cheesy thing to do. I'm not a geezer who comes from a cheesy background. I come from a background where I want to keep my reputation cool.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, exactly. So I want to come in with my version of what I think we should be doing in a stage. It's easy to come up and go, here you go, here's visuals behind me, and there's a cool looking thing in front of me. Like it can be done and it can look good, but I want to do something that it's not different because it's hard that anything different is kind of probably already been done in a way.
For sure. Yeah.
I want to have my own interpretation that's kind of reputable, not looking cheesy. You know what I mean? So it's we've got to try and not tread that line.
But it feels like it's the right time now.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, like for years I've been wondering when's things going to start popping off, and I thought, maybe my music isn't good enough, and I've been through all that stuff in the mind, but it just took a lot of elements, that for it to grow, and again, like, I haven't expected any rise from what I'm doing. I've been grafting, you know what I mean, and that's my journey. Some guy might make one track and be bigger than me. That's their journey. But at the end of the day, it's now finally happening. I'm going to grab it with both hands, and I've got to work on it.
Go on, son. See, that's the fight talk we like on KK Podcast Live. Well, fucking great.
Nice one, man.
Wicked hangs. You know what I mean?
It's been emotional.
Good people. It has. It's been real. It's been a pleasure. Ladies and gentlemen, Killa Kela Podcast, always giving it to you all real and down right now to the core. Okay, so it's New Year. Happy New Year. Have a blinder. Try not to get into trouble. Anticlimax New Year, isn't it? It's just get on, isn't it? Just carry on.
New Year.
Business
Just
as
another
usual.
thing, yeah.
Just double down, innit? Double down and get on with it. Big up the Funtcase. Stay lucky, Killa Kela Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe. Stay lucky, all right?
DPMO.
Peace. Was that for you, kid?